Hi, crafty friends. Welcome to Angela Shows You. I wanted to just take a few minutes on this Friday to talk a little bit about pricing our projects when we are making them to sell. Um, I'm going to share with you a little bit about my own, but then there's a couple other ways that it's recommended for people to use. But I also first, just really quick, also wanted to show you some of the products that I've received that I ordered in the mail. I'm getting ready. So this is the brand Warm White. It is cotton batting. And the reason why I stress that it's cotton batting is because we are going to have a tutorial coming up very soon on how to make bowl cozies. And when you're making bowl cozies, it is very important to use all cotton. Cotton batting, cotton material, and even cotton thread. Joann's was having a big sale. I'm not sure if it's still going on. You can always look and see, but I actually got these because they were only $5 a package, and you can actually get quite a few bowl cozies out of this size, which is 34 by 45. I think this is kind of like basically a twin size, because I think this is used like if people are making blankets. I got two of these, $10. Not bad at all. Gonna make a ton of bowl cozies out of these two things. And then I also got two of these as well. These are June Taylor Casserole Caddy. I really like these because they are stamped for you so that it gives you the placement of where you're going to put your fabric strips. I used these before when I made a tote bag, and then I actually took paper. I'm going to show this in a future video, but I actually took craft paper and I made my own pattern, so to speak, out of this so that I didn't have to keep purchasing the printed battings. I could use my own like fusible fleece. So it ends up being a little bit more cost effective, but I ordered two of these because they were on sale and they were $10 each, and I'm gonna make one and try it, and then hopefully it goes well. And I bought the other one. I have somebody in mind that I want to make one of these as a gift for. So I bought two of them because they were on sale, and I was like, well, what the heck, what? I wanted to give it a try and see. So more to come on that in the future. So now that we've talked for a quick minute about what's to come, pricing products. So part of the reason too that I always look for things to buy when I'm on sale, because if I don't yet have a lot of wholesale accounts with various places online, I'm kind of just getting started doing this a little bit more, trying to build up a part-time business making crafts to sell. So I don't have a lot of wholesale accounts at this point in time. But even if you do, these tips I'm hoping are going to give you a better profit margin. Because you want to take into consideration, of course, the cost of your supplies. You want to make more. Hopefully, you want to make more than just recouping the money that it cost you to make your goods. If you're doing this as a hobby, or if you're doing something for friends or family, sure. There's a lot of times when I do things for my friends and I only charge them for the cost of my supplies because they're my friends or they're my family, and I don't you're not always looking to make money. You're like, yeah, sure, so I'm a runner, and sometimes my friends and I will run a race or we'll do something together and we'll want coordinating shirts. So we come up with what kind of theme do we want on our shirts, and then I order the shirts, and I cut everything with my Cricut, and I use my heat press, and I make our shirts or our tank tops or whatever it is. So most of the time I'll basically just say, hey, just, reimburse me the cost of the tank top. And, I try and look, somewhere like in the $5 to $10 range. And, I order our shirts and I make them. And, I just ask them, just reimburse me for the cost of the tank. I'm not looking to make money off of my friends. I just, I'm doing it because it's something fun, that we enjoy doing together. But if you're looking to turn a profit, for the products that you're selling, you want to maybe look at, okay, how much am I purchasing my supplies for? And you want to take into consideration, like, so if I'm going to use t-shirts as an example. So I get my t-shirts from Shirt Supply, shirtsupply.com. But there's other ones. There's Jiffy Shirts. There's a few different ones. Jiffy Shirts and Shirt Supply are the two that I use. I just tend to use shirtsupply.com website more often than I use Jiffy Shirts. Every once in a while, you might see shirts on sale at Michael's or Joann's, and they might be $2 or $3 for the t-shirts, which is an excellent price. Like, I just got some t-shirts from Michael's because they were $2.99. They were $3 a t-shirt, and I was like, oh my god, that's a fantastic price. And there's no minimum. So like when I order shirts from Shirt Supply, it's a $75 minimum to get free shipping, which I tend to try and do, because why pay $8 or $9 or $10 for shipping? Like, that's 2 or 3 more shirts, but you're spending $75. I mean, that's a lot of shirts. So I guess part of it depends on the volume that you're looking to do. So I actually had ended up ordering t-shirts from Michael's because they were on sale and I didn't have a minimum, so I think I only wanted like 4 or 5. But you want to think about, okay, I'm not only getting my shirts, but you also have the cost of your vinyl, or if you're getting a polyester shirt, the polyester shirts cost more. That's why I wanted to call those out, specifically. So if you're doing a sublimation shirt and you're using polyester, those cost more. But you also have, the cost of either your infusible ink transfer sheet, or if you're printing your design, you want to take into consideration the cost of your paper and your ink, because the sublimation ink and the sublimation transfer sheets, they're not cheap. So you want to just take into account how much your supplies cost you. So there's kind of 2 more popular ways of pricing your products: your cost of your supplies plus an hourly rate. So decide, do you want to make $10 an hour? Do you want to make $15 an hour? Do you want to make $20 an hour? So your cost of your supplies, so say you're getting a polyester shirt and you're using HTV. So your polyester shirt might have been $7 or $8, and then how big is your design and how complex is it too? How many colors are you using of HTV? Your HTV is $8 to $10 a roll. Are you using half a roll, a whole roll? That's going to really depend on how big the design is. Are you using half a roll of 2 different colors? So you're basically using a whole roll. So you've got your $8 shirt and maybe a roll of HTV, which, say that's $8. So now you're at $16. And then if you want to make $10 an hour, that's $26. I mean, I guess that depends. Would you pay $26 for a t-shirt? I know people do. I know I have. You go to a concert, you get a concert t-shirt, that's $30. So you want to just take into account that method. Or cost of supplies times 3 is the other popular method. So you've got your shirt and your HGV. So we already decided we have $16. Now you multiply that by 3. That's kind of a ridiculous, like, nobody would pay that. So you may want to use both methods when you're coming up with your cost, because it wouldn't be reasonable to say, okay, I've got $16 as my cost of supplies, and I'm multiplying that by 3. You probably aren't going to get very many customers who are going to pay that for a t-shirt. I mean, that's what, 50 bucks, right? I mean, yeah, because 20 times 3 would be $60. So it's 40 bucks, 40 something. However, if you're making earrings, you could do cost of supplies times 3, because generally we buy our earring supplies. You get more than one of anything in your package, whether you're using jewelry supply, Fire Mountain gems. You're usually getting 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 in your package. So the supplies, when you break that all down, the supplies tend to be a little bit cheaper, where you could do your cost of your supplies times 3 and still come out with a reasonable amount. Or you could do cost of supplies times an hourly rate. So if you got your whatever, your little dangly, your little charm or your beads, and then you've got your base, either your fish hook or your, if you're doing just a post with the drop down, because those tend to usually come like 10 or 20 pairs in a package for relatively inexpensive. So you break that down, it might cost you $3 or $4. So if you're paying yourself $10 an hour, that's $13, $14 pair of earrings. That's pretty reasonable. If it's costing you $3 or $4 in supplies and you multiply that by 3, you're still coming out to about the same. You're coming out to about $12. So either way you break it down, sometimes it comes out to be within a couple dollars of each other. Sometimes it's a huge difference. So that's just something to consider when you're coming up with your formula on how to price your products. And some other things that you want to just think too. We also, as crafters, we tend to undervalue our work, or we're afraid that we're going to charge too much and we're not going to get any customers. So I know in my craft booth, I oftentimes people come in and they tell me I have fantastic prices, or oh my gosh, it's so inexpensive. So that makes me wonder, am I undervaluing my work? So I have a lot of earrings that I charge $5 or $6 a pair for, which I'm still making a little bit of money on those. Part of me feels like having, like the earrings in this bin are $5 a pair. And a lot of those I do a lot of the Tree of Life ones, and I buy those, I get like 50 pairs of earrings in the package, and I attach them to the this post, however I'm going to do it. Usually I do the fish hooks because I think they look cute when they, because they're little round ones and they dangle down. So they look really cute on like the fish hooks or the posts. So I charge $5 a pair. I'm probably making about $3.50 a pair. But I like that because that's an excellent seller for me. It's a way to a lot of people use those as either like an add-on, or they're like, oh, it's only $5, I'm going to get this too. So I tend to have a little bit more sales doing it that way, because I've got an inexpensive product that is okay, it's not churning me a gigantic profit, but if I take all 50 pairs of those to a show, oftentimes I sell 40 or 45 pairs of them. I'm not coming home at the end of a weekend with too many of those. So that's generating me, though, a pretty good return. And because I've got those displayed along with products that are a little bit more, like the tote bags that I'm working on, I've got a ton of these. I sell these for $30 a bag. So I get people who come in, they're looking at those, or they look at the bag, and then they see the earrings too, and they're like, oh, and they end up getting both of them. So it gives me really good opportunity, and then I can say, like I can tell them, the tote bags, these are machine washable, they're, all cotton, blah, blah, blah. The earrings, I made the earrings. Or they, might look at some of the other ones, and I'm like, I got these leather ones, I cut the leather on my Cricut. So it gives you as a vendor opportunity to talk to people. Boast a little bit, about your product. Give some, they make a great gift. So that helps. So your pricing matters. You get people to come in, and then you can talk to them a little bit about maybe what sets you apart. They're looking at something, bowl cozies are an excellent, I like to tell people, because it seems like a lot of people don't know what they are. So you're like, those are really great. You can stick them right in the microwave. That's why it's important to use all cotton. You can stick it right in the microwave. Then you don't have to worry about taking a hot bowl out of the microwave. You're not burning your fingertips. Remind them that they're really good to use too for ice cream. You don't have to hold on to a cold bowl of ice cream. Those make great talking points to sell things. So you also, might want to take into consideration any overhead costs that you have too. Do you rent a studio? Are you paying somebody, do you have a website? Are you paying somebody to maintain your website? Are you using photography equipment? Are you buying those backdrops maybe? Are you buying, any kind of special equipment? People say you need to build all those costs into the cost of your product, but you don't want to undervalue your work. You also don't want to price yourself out either. It's definitely a fine line. Do you use editing software? Did you buy, are you paying a monthly fee to use an app for editing software? If you're using Etsy or Shopify or anything like that, where you're paying a monthly fee to have a website. Maybe you don't. Maybe you strictly do craft shows and you're not selling anything, so you don't have any of those things to take into consideration. But if you do, those are things that you want to think about as well when you're pricing your products on your site. Maybe you charge $1 or $2 more online than you do at a local craft show, because you're doing more of a cash and carry than you're doing, on your website. Something to consider. So the formula is definitely going to be a little bit tricky. Like I said, you don't want to undervalue your work and charge too little. You don't want to price yourself out either by charging cost times 3, and then all of a sudden, you've got a $45 t-shirt and you're at a craft show and people are like, I don't freaking think so, man. So I also that's part of how I think about my pricing. I tend to do my cost times 3, but I also think about, would I spend that? Would I shell over 20 or 30 or $40 for this item? So when you're thinking about pricing your product, think about, would you spend that? You know how much time and effort it takes, and people don't. And that's another great opportunity when someone is in your booth at a craft show. You can talk to them about your technique maybe a little bit. You don't have to give away your steps, and all your trade secrets, but you can give a little bit of a technique. You could, maybe you might want to say, hey, these bags make great gift. This one's not done yet. But like this will have a drawstring interior as well. So like so these are pretty labor intensive actually to make. You kind of wouldn't think it. But they take about an hour, maybe a little bit more per bag. So you might just say, these are, I hand sew these. Well, not really hand sew. I use a machine, of course, but I make every bag from scratch, and every bag takes me, about an hour to an hour, maybe, somewhere between an hour and a half. Give a little bit of context to your product. It helps people understand, it'll help people understand, okay, this isn't something that's mass produced. This isn't something that you're going to go into Target or Walmart or any other retail store and find 75 of these on the shelf. That I have 3 of these that took me like 4 hours to make. So, I'm charging $30 for the bag, but I'm pouring my time into this. Some people will appreciate that, some people won't, and okay, whatever. You're not going to get through to everybody. But at any rate, my whole point is, these are some of the things that you want to take into consideration when you're pricing your product. But you also talk to people. Most reasonable people will be like, oh my goodness, and then realize that's a great price, and I know somebody who would love this. And then all of a sudden, like they can go back and they can say, hey, I bought this for you at a show, and the person, like these were handmade, and there's only, 5 of these. So then the recipient is like, they feel like they've got something unique and kind of one of a kind. So that makes it even more special. So I hope that this helps at least a little bit. So like I said, the two techniques: your cost of your supplies plus an hourly rate, or the cost of your supplies times 3, taking into consideration you don't want to price yourself out. Please don't undervalue your work. If you have an opportunity and you're doing this at a craft show, walk around too. Hopefully or just go to a craft show when you're not a vendor. Go check things out and see, are other people making what you're making? What are they selling it for? You want to kind of keep in line a little bit with your market value. I hate to give prices because different parts of the country, sell for different. Or if you've got something unique that other people aren't doing, or if you're doing something personalized, you can charge more, because people aren't going to find the same thing somewhere else, or it's personalized, it's unique. That makes it even more special. So it allows you as the maker to get a little bit more of a premium for your service. It's a service, it's your time. But please don't undervalue yourself, but don't price yourself out either. So definitely you need to do a little bit of research on kind of the going rate in your area. And that's the important thing. I see a lot of times on Facebook where people are talking about how much they should charge for things. While I know from going to shows, sometimes the prices that people are talking, I'm like, that would never fly here. But maybe, other states, like in California, it seems like, where everything costs more. Maybe you could, but that might not fly everywhere. So I would highly encourage anybody to take a look around, go to some shows, or don't look online as much. I would go around to the area where you live and look to see. That might also help you decide if you're wanting to get into doing something like this. It might help you decide. I had mentioned last week, I don't do tumblers because so many other people do. And I've gone to so many shows where I've seen 5 or 6 other vendors who all have tumblers. Well, why would I want to do that? That's way too much competition. Where if I do the bowl cozies and the tote bags and aprons, not everybody does that. I don't have a whole lot of competition when I'm at shows. I'm not competing against a bunch of other people to sell my product. So I hope that helps you at least a little bit. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave a comment. I'll definitely respond the best of my ability, and definitely, I'm here to help. So please, if you found any of this helpful or useful, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, there's lots more to come. Said we've got all kinds of materials for the bowl cozies, and I'm going to do some tutorials on that coming up within the next week or two. So have a great day. God bless.